Greetings and welcome to my updated Anima Relic guide for Dawntrail. This time talking about all the things that have changed with our massive increase in power level due to reaching level 100 and having access to much stronger equipment. But of course, we will go through this grind step by step, and while it took me slightly longer than my last Anima Relic speedrun, I could still manage to complete the Terpanda Lux, which is the Bard's Anima Relic, in around 4 hours, without having any help through Party Finder or friends. This of course only works if you have spent a large Tombstones of Poetics on Anima Relic materials from time to time, which I always did before the Endwalker relic started to share that fate with Anima. Before going into preparations, what is the Anima Relic and why should you grind it? Every Final Fantasy expansion has its own relic weapon, which not only becomes the most powerful weapon in the game at a certain fraction of the connected expansion, but also its appearance is very special and mostly more stylized and extraordinary than the usual gear you can get throughout other forms of content. The first aspect now becomes irrelevant whenever you're dealing with the newer expansion, so everything before Dawntrail relics are only useful for the aesthetic value, and that is what we're going for with the Anima one. Because in my opinion this is not the usual relic weapon, but among the best this game has ever brought to light. Above that, relics have different steps of completion, and you might find one of the earlier steps very cool already, so you're basically receiving a whole collection of weapons for a whole questline. So sit down, start grinding poetics, and be surprised how a little planning ahead can get you lots of relics for your job in no time. So this is what we're going to start with: poetics preparations. If you're not in a rush, take your time with preparations if Mandeville relic weapons are not on your buying order. Then you should literally spend each and every Tombstone of Poetics for this Anima weapon, as you can stock most ingredients and materials in advance without having the quest unlocked. Which leads us to this chart and that NPC trader in Idleshire. Nevertheless, the list shows all sorts of items that you can get by spending a large Tombstones of Poetics. Some of them have alternatives, which I will explain on each step individually. And my personal recommendations for getting poetics are simply going for your duty roulette dailies, especially the main scenario quests, or doing stuff like Aglaia over and over again, which can be splendidly combined with your leveling process. I know, 15,500 poetics sound frightening, but when you farm those in the meantime of leveling your jobs, it doesn't feel that bad. Just go for duty roulettes on a daily basis and you're prepared in 1 week or 2. Oh, and before I forget, it is highly recommended to do this on level 100 or level 90 at least, otherwise some steps might take significantly longer or you have to form up parties to complete them. Alright, so to the first quest. If you never grinded down a single Anima relic, everything starts with the quest An Unexpected Proposal, found in Idleshire. For Anima Relic veterans, you start at Ardashir in Azizlar, and you have to select the correct quest for the job you want the relic for. This will lead you to Mordona, where you have to talk to Rowena, and afterwards to this lady called Sindani. She will demand you to farm the Astral and Umbral Nodule, which you can receive with a 10% drop chance on each fate completion in Heavensward areas, one different element in each zone. This step is actually one of the most RNG dependent, and you can finish this in half an hour or 2 hours or even more. Just always remember to change the Heavensward zone whenever you have received a luminous crystal. Not like I did and continue to farm fates even though you already got the crystal, so be careful whenever a fate is completed. Unfortunately, you have to level sync down, which makes this even more time consuming, so you're dealing with this quest like you would do in Heavensward. One small tip though, if you have any fate pop up that is 56 and upwards, your level sync is on level 60, on which you're definitely more powerful due to the Stormblood level values, so try to aim for these fates over the low ones. Another way of receiving those nodules is by exchanging your full and finished Zodiac relic weapon, where in the process it will get destroyed. But don't worry, you can still get weapon replicas of it, but you're limited to this way of completion only once to skip the luminous crystal grind, so choose wisely when this feels reasonable to do. The next step is called Toughening Up, which will take you to all sorts of high level A REALM REBORN dungeons and some Heavensward ones. Make sure to run them unrestricted by clicking the menu cogwheel in the upper left corner to run these with your full level 90 and upwards power. The nice Dawntrail advantage here, you can keep the relic weapon equipped as we're still one-shotting enemies easily. For healers or people below level 100, you might want to start each dungeon with your high level weapon and make sure to switch it to the Anima relic before leaving the dungeon. Afterwards, the next quest is called Coming Into Its Own. Here comes the first poetic step, because most people, me included, farm these unidentifiable items where you need 10 of each with tombstones. However, there are other ways to farm them, like Wheels from Alexander and stuff alike. Check out this overview to learn more about that. The second ingredient are 4 different unique items that you can either buy from the market board or with Grand Company seals. Note here that you want to keep company seals for Pneumite in a later step, so I highly recommend buying them out for this step. Next one we have Finding Your Voice. This is a quick one demanding 5 ether oils. This actually is a downgrade compared to Endwalker because this cat lady, which offered a nice repeatable quest to complete for these oils, has been patched away. So poetics it is. Step 5, called A Dream Fulfilled, is still the most annoying if you haven't prepared Umbrite and Crystal Sand. The first being received by, you guessed it right, poetics. The second one has multiple options, but the best one is having a crafter leveled up and crafting rarefied stuff that you can trade in against blue crafter scripts, where 5 can be exchanged against 2 crystal sands. Just go with the usual trick of crafting stuff that is 10 levels below your current level, and you can easily finish one item in 3 or 4 steps by using Trained Eye and some groundworks. For other alternatives, check out my full video about that step in the description. Here you will roughly need 55 Umbrites and Crystal Sand, so prepare for a kinda long grind if you haven't spent Poetics in advance. Followed by the allocation step, in which you have to allocate stabs to your relic, 90 in the first run and 180 in total. Don't worry too much about these, as there is no ultimate in Heavensward that you could demand to care about the distribution. Step 6, Future Proof. Bring 50 singing clusters to Blemprest. Easy as that. Poetics it is again. Or you can do it much more comfortably by accepting quests that are tied to this step on these 2 ladies, which will demand you to do some of your dailies and dungeons, and if you just accept those every week for a year or more, you will never run out of singing clusters again. So make sure to always accept those quests once you have them unlocked, even if you have no relic on your to-do list. However, for those starting into this part for the first time, 19 clusters you can get from the ladies, and the rest is received from, you know the word, don't you? Okay, get ready for the big one now. The absolute classic of light farming. That should be a common term for Final Fantasy veterans. However, first Ardashir demands us to visit some dungeons, in which leaving the relic inside of your inventory is already enough to complete the steps. But I kept it equipped just in case and for avoiding some flashbacks from the toughening up step. Afterwards we will be given an Anima glass that will indicate a certain status our weapon is resembling. This is leveled up by doing all sorts of Heavensward content, and now to the Dawntrail aspect of this, you basically run down Alexander, the Eyes of the Creator, in its Savage difficulty level, also known as A9S. And if you're decently geared with endgame gear and not a healer, you can farm this down in under 2 minutes. I'm not sure if mechanics happen on healers, but if you have one person with full Dawntrail power helping you out, this part won't take longer than 15 minutes. But on the bright side, DPS and tanks can do this solo now. Even that you must equip your relic during the fight. I managed a kill under 70 seconds, which was quite impressive given the fact that our 4 people group in Endwalker didn't clear it much faster. So Dawntrail pushes this step into solo content range easily, and while it was doable before too, it is much faster now. Just keep pushing A9S until this message pops up, which will start the next part that consists of talking to the node, to Ardashir and then to the node again. That requires you to collect 15 Pneumites, which now can be received by Poetics or Grand Company seals. So spend whatever you have left, but keep 500 Poetics for the final ingredient later. Alright, the victory leap is ahead. For this it is very important to keep your weapon equipped again, or at least to swap it out before you leave the trial. So take down a bunch of these trials all by yourself and with your Dawntrail power and level, and afterwards buy out a bottle of archaic enchanted ink to finalize your relic weapon, and harvest the fruits of your labor in the form of the relic you have chosen to complete. Now usually it had been the case to unlock replicas, but that seems to be unlocked after Born Again Anima some stages earlier. So another change to the state we had before. Just remember that the final stage only differs in color and some details or size, so you can always get replicas for both stages and see which fits better to your armor's color scheme, which I really love about the Anima relic. I hope that my updated guide helped you out, and if you want to really dig into the details of a certain step or stage of the Anima relic, check out my detailed guides in the description. And of course, if you're interested in the Zodiac relic from A REALM REBORN, my guides can be found there too. Good luck in grinding down Poetics and all other tasks, and have lots of fun with one of the coolest weapon designs this game has to offer. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving relic hunting. And Final Fantasy, of course.